All right, we're back with more of The Witcher 2. We should finish today. Depending on time, we might switch to The Witcher 3. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. I'll have to find out. Talk to Yervith. See what he says. Whoops. I guess we'll need to avoid the guards.
In a hurry to see the deliberations?
Here on urgent business.
Your dress seems to confirm it. Excuse you indeed. I suppose I couldn't much care. I've heard what I came to hear.
Fair.
And what, pray tell, was that?
The rightful heir will ascend to the Edirnian throne. There will be peace in the land. What more could one want?
Prince Stennis is here?
King Stennis.
Oh.
Crowned 2 days past in Vengerberg. Merely send a messenger.
Interesting.
All those present promptly agreed that he will make a good...
He wasn't even guaranteed to be alive at this stage in the game, right?
Prince Stennis. A poisoner, coward, and schemer. He trembled with disgust when he spoke to the peasants. Disdain flowed from him like vomit. But he didn't deserve to be lynched.
Okay, remembering the thing that happened this
Not the
game, got it.
justice Saskia fought for. Prince Stennis I, son of Demavend III, became the 17th king of Edirn. He won the hearts of the people. They saw him as the hope of the nation. The realm, ravaged by war, needed a ruler sensitive to the plight of his subjects.
I really
King
like
Stennis
these
I
cutscenes. I don't remember
was
if they're
just
in
that.
Witcher 3 from the 1 hour we played of it before.
I see you took care of the guards.
This is his way.
Monastic curs.
They're not paragons of virtue, true, but they were just doing their job.
Then they didn't do it well enough.
Uh,
Can we go now?
yeah, let's do it.
Yes, let's go.
Time to finish it.
Finishing it, hype. Seems pretty climactic and exciting.
Whether you like it or not, John Natalis, Temeria will be divided.
For the good of the entire North.
The united forces of Kedwin and Redania will end the fighting among the Elder Houses and secure peace from Gorsvelen to Ellendar. At present, Temeria is starting to resemble the Pontar Valley.
Which, if I understand correctly, is currently controlled by Edirn.
You are mistaken, Radovid. Vergen is free.
Free? What precisely does that mean?
Well, this isn't going to go very
Your mouth
well.
is not Kedwin's, and Edirn no longer controls Upper Edirn. We have rejected Prince Stennis
Ooh.
King Stennis.
and handed King Henselt's army a resounding defeat.
Your forces, my dear lass, are nothing but a motley array of rebellious peasants and elven brigands. Sooner or later, they will need to swear allegiance to someone, or they will be defeated and dispersed.
The peoples of the Pontar Valley will swear allegiance to me, Queen Saskia. As an independent realm, we hereby speak in favor of reconstituting the Council and Conclave.
You're a lovely girl, but you issue from common stock. The sole crown you are worthy of donning is a wreath woven of
As one of the only
wildflowers.
comically evil
Redania will
douchebags.
recognize no
A lot of other
coronation.
douchebags who aren't quite so
in that
evil.
case, you must choose King Radovid. Will you carve up Temeria, or march on the Pontar Valley? Henselt, last of the line of the unicorns, has sworn to recognize the Pontar Valley as a free realm. Philippa Eilhart witnessed it.
Philippa Eilhart is in my dungeon,
Uh-uh.
awaiting trial for treason.
She was in your dungeon, Radovid, but is no longer. She will sit at
Yeah.
my side
Okay,
in
so
Vergen
she's
as my
still
royal
got
advisor.
her
Everything we did in Vergen will be in vain.
There's still hope.
enchanted.
We have the dagger.
Yeah, let's go use the dagger right now. Perfect timing.
The document describing the charter of the Council and the Conclave is, as previously ascertained, an exact copy of the charter found in the ruins on Thanet Island. The more important question relates to the Conclave and its power to designate royal advisors. Today, randomly chosen mages and sorceresses reside at many courts. However, in the time of the previous Conclave, such persons were carefully chosen.
Okay.
Why shouldn't we pick our own advisors?
These individuals bear great responsibility, Your Majesty. The Conclave needs to be certain they are competent.
The Conclave also an organization of mages, independent from the Lodge.
Obviously, sire. The Conclave's chief interest is the well-being and prosperity of the northern kingdoms. The document has been signed by every member of the Conclave we have proposed, as well as by all but one of the
Because they're like
designated
assigned
advisors. We
sorceresses.
await only Sheila de Tanseville's signature.
Or mages, I
Without our royal
guess.
seals, you should be allowed to designate advisors to cowherds at most.
That is true, Your Majesty.
Dickish, but true.
Before you sign this document, please hear me out.
Excellency, with all due respect, this matter does not concern Nilfgaard in the least.
I am here at King Henselt's bidding. Will you deny my right to speak?
They do the awkward silence thing a lot in this game. This isn't gonna go well. There's all these kings here.
What is the meaning of this?
This man tried to kill me this morning. He attempted to take an imperial
Is he gonna
envoy's
murder all
life
of
in your
them?
lands.
I presume he was interrogated.
He confessed. Foltest and Demiven died by his hand. He also revealed
more
the identity
assassin of
his
kings?
employers.
Sorceresses. They helped me with my assassinations. Speak on. The Lodge of Sorceresses sought to remove those rulers who acted against the will of mages.
Lodge of Sorceresses.
We have compiled a list. Philippa Eilhart, Margarita Loantil,
Well, Triss,
Tris
not
Merrick,
really, but
Kira Metz, Francesca Findabair, Ida Emin, and finally, Sheila de Tanseville.
I do really like the names
To
in
my
the Witcher
deepest
universe.
regret,
They sound good.
Two Nilfgaardian sorceresses, Asiravar Anahid and Fringa de Vigo, were also members. The Emperor will deal with them accordingly.
Our queen left to powder her nose.
Haha. Thanks for the note. In case Letho murders everybody, like, oh, why didn't he murder the Queen?
Your Majesty, what's the meaning of this?
Arrest them all. Your document will have to wait, honorable sorcerers.
This would make sense if Philippa
You
is
have
still
no
controlling
right.
her.
Surrender now if you don't want another massacre, this time in Lochmuin. A court of law will reveal the traitors.
So you just gotta level up for that. The game didn't crash, but that wasn't The Witcher, that was Darksiders, where it couldn't handle leveling up in between cutscenes. Hey, she's back from powdering her nose. I appreciate the little line from Geralt. I like that that's apparently a gold dragon. Need a round 2 versus Letho here. I wonder how many variations on this cutscene there are based on your decisions up to this point.
Geralt! We're trapped! I can't get through! Sheila! You must get Sheila!
Alright. Enter the dragon.
Turn back while you can, Witcher. You can't stop me. Not you, not anyone else.
You'd be surprised.
If I have to, I will kill you.
Dang.
How do you like my dragon?
Your dragon.
You're late.
But I
I've
don't die
already
from
managed to
burning during this
stabilize the
cutscene.
portal.
I am still on
You've got
fire.
nowhere to run. Sooner or later, somebody will find you.
I prefer to leave on my own terms.
Where's Letho?
Sir Sempesis will tend to him, as she will to all the fools who get a hard-on at the mere thought of burning a sorceress at the stake.
Where is he?
Great
You don't
name.
know, fool. I've been looking for him since Foltest's assassination. Letho
Is
cheated
he
all of us.
acting against
We were
their
deceived by his
intents?
dull face and sluggish stare. Don't you understand? The Lodge sought a way to get rid of Demavend. That's true. He was a weak, volatile king. Edirn would eventually choke to death under his rule. We chose the lesser evil. He had to be eliminated, and Letho happened to be at hand.
Foltest? Henselt?
We had nothing to do with that. After assassinating
The
Demavend,
dialogue
Letho
earlier
used
specifically
powerful
called her a
magical
gold
support
dragon
to
and said
find
only
and
gold
meet
dragons
Laura.
are able to
The elf
shapeshift.
was to help him hide until the matter blew over.
It's from this
So I
game.
thought. The Lodge did not condemn Foltest to die.
Then who did?
Nilfgaard. Letho is the king of liars and emperor of traitors. From the start, he worked for the glory of the great sun and the white flame dancing on the graves of his foes. He lied to everyone. Me, Yorveth, your stupid little Triss, and you.
Got any evidence?
A moment ago, I received a message from the Lodge's agent in Sintra. The Imperial Army is on the move. They're fording the Yaruga now. Do you think the North can defend itself in the current situation? And can you count on another miracle at Brenna?
I don't know, but you made it all possible and you'll answer for that. The stigma of treason is yours for all time.
We shall see. For no one will leave this city alive. No one will tell this story. Philippa controls the dragon. As soon as I disappear, it will turn the city into a flaming tomb. We may have lost a battle.
This
but
tomb
the
will be your
war
grave.
is just beginning. You, however, shall not take part in it. This is your end, Witcher.
Farewell! Something's not right.
Oh.
The diamond! Someone replace the diamond! This one's flawed. I'll be torn to bits! Geralt, remove it!
You waited long enough.
What?
Should you survive, go south.
That
to
was really
Nilfgaard,
sudden.
where you'll find Yennefer of Vengerberg.
Oh, hey.
Farewell, Witcher.
It was like super abrupt. I got that it was a moral decision, but... Ow. Come on, take your sword out. There you go. This is going to be an annoying fight. I hope it saved a second ago. You even say that to the dragon? I'm tired of burning here. I don't think there's an opportunity for me to quick save in between those sequences. Let's see what it gives me here. Oh, that's nice of them.
Wonder how many more will turn out.
Just the one, Geralt. Shame there's no iframes on the roll. Apparently I'm not doing any damage now. Do you have to like get the line just right to be able to hit her? Don't actually kill her. to. It's pretty funny. Let me do that though. I guess that was an opportunity to quick save I should have taken. Stop doing the fancy attack roll. Just swing your sword so I can get out of the way. It's annoying. You wouldn't keep committing to that crazy spinning attack. I'd be able to get out in time. Wow. Saving is actually being friendly here. I want to wait for my health to regen before I go up there. Just have the cat potion, okay. You can't rest at this time, fair enough. Oh, it's not going to let me auto-save? Oh, that's annoying.
Damn monsters.
Ow. Yeah, it has so much reach there, there's not a lot I can do about it. None of these spells are great against a dragon. Just have to practice this, I guess.
Wonder how many more.
Hey, Namek, how you doing?
How many more can
Not
there
a great
be?
start. Go back and save if it lets me here. Oh, I can't drink the potions before this one. I can at least take less damage in this phase.
Guess they'll never learn.
That's not doing much better. Alright, I'll just deal with what I got. How's Baldur's Gate 3 treating you?
Wonder how many more will turn up.
I don't understand where the creature is vulnerable. It seems like there's a lot of periods where it just takes no damage for particularly no reason. Like right there, I hit it twice for nothing. It's gonna come down to luck on what attacks it uses, I think.
Too old for this.
That's bad. Happened again. Also can't really control whether he does the like spinny gap closing attack versus where he swings manually. Like right there, that gets me in trouble if he does that instead of that. God damn it. Yeah, I seem to have no control over which one triggers. Actually don't want him to use the gap closer at all, because then I could safely attack him and then roll in, attack, roll out, but since he always does it in close range, it's not going to cut it. Fuck. Fuck, don't do fire, please. Fuck. No fire, please. Oh, wait, phase change. Okay. Oh, no QTEs right now. I have to do all that and then learn some QTEs. So you learned from the Karen fight, the QTEs in this game are brutal. Fuck, I'm dead. X and then Y. Oh my god, I can't believe they're being kind. They should have done this in the Karen fight. It makes you wonder, why didn't they do it then? I like how it loaded the scene where you don't die. Well, so much for Saskia. Way to go, Philippa. Just gonna use the dagger here so that, like, you could say goodbye or something. I'm surprised the Witcher devs didn't take the opportunity to make her naked there for no reason.
I think we can skip the niceties.
Seems like they'll go for any opportunity where they can argue that it's reasonable.
I sense your readiness to fight on.
We were fighting to the death just minutes ago.
I understand. I believe I owe you part of my treasure. Family tradition and all.
No need. Can you make it back to Vergen?
I think so. I've always healed quickly in the past.
Can you tell me what'll happen to Yorvith now?
Let's be honest.
We had to do a specific thing with, like,
him, nor whitewash his deeds.
we had to, like,
he must earn respect on
Pulp
his own
Fiction her with the
perhaps.
dagger.
A few generations on, humans will forget.
Because maybe we're implying that her impaling herself on the tree was enough.
Yorvith has killed more humans than you've eaten chickens. He's not one to be used. It's not that simple.
I don't know, it's a lot of
He came to
humans.
believe in me and knew from the start what we were fighting for. He made a choice.
Sure you don't know what I'm talking about? Those baby doe eyes, that intense misty gaze, the pouting.
We shared a cause, fought side by side.
Yorvith did and would do anything for you. Question is, what are you prepared to do for him?
There will always be a place for the Scoia'tael in the free Pontar Valley. As to Yorvith himself, I've heard many say crude things about us. Thing is, as long as I can remember, I've found dwarves fascinating. Must be a dragon thing. And though preferable to a human, an elf would be a compromise.
Philippa took advantage of the chaos and escaped. Think she could reveal your secret?
It's nothing I can control. I don't intend to pursue her. We may or may not meet again, but I shall leave that to fate.
She's not one to give up easily. I think she'll come after you again, try to take control, as soon as she's done licking her wounds.
I shall be cautious next time, and I know much more about Eilhart than she would ever wish.
Keep that knowledge until you need it.
Philippa is a tragic figure. That's all I can say.
You know, you're not the first dragon I've talked to.
You met my father, Villain Trettenmirth.
Great name.
Orc 3 jackdaws.
I thought he couldn't have children.
He thought so as well.
Polymorphing. Did you get that from him?
Just a hint of it. I can only assume one human form. He could transform into anyone he liked.
You also don't have his quickness and reflexes. And I don't think I saw a single golden scale on you.
Nor do I have
I'm not
his
commenting on
moustache
it.
or paunch. Sorry to disappoint you.
Professional curiosity. Forgive me. Where is Bork these days?
Who can know that? He taught me what he thought I should know and flew off yonder. It's the dragon's way. And he gave me my name.
Synthesis, if I heard right.
I prefer being Saskia.
Sheila and Philippa have lost. The Lodge has been defeated.
That's good, though temporary. I fear we shall hear of them again.
You know, Emir's armies have crossed the Yaruga.
I expected as much, as did Philippa. We defeated the Adernian lords and Henselt. With a bit of luck, we'll defeat the Emperor as well.
Time I was on my way.
You shall always be a welcome guest in Vergen. I underline guest.
Don't worry, I'm only ever a visitor.
I know.
What a Witcher thing to say.
Sometimes I wish I could see the future, like my father.
And sometimes it's better to be surprised.
Farewell, Witcher.
I'm surprised and pleased they didn't just kill Saskia there. That would be the, like, miserable Game of Thrones thing to do, right? Oh, that happened fast. Seems really fucking awful.
Your handiwork, sire.
In the beginning, there was chaos.
I know it was close to the end. I didn't realize it was this close. It's kind of crazy. Probably too long to go over last episode, though.
What happened to Saskia?
She's alive. Wounded from our scrap, but alive. She impaled herself on a tree, and then I had to use that dagger. But she'll make it. Mountain air is good for a dragon's hide.
You're the most noble human I know, Gwynblade.
I'm no human.
I'm glad you reminded me. My hatred for the species abated for a moment.
What about Letho?
Strange thing. He sits in the Temerians' former camp. I believe he awaits here.
How do you know?
Interesting.
I saw him. He's got Triss.
Let's go. Tell me what happened here on the way.
While you were fighting Saskia, the city was staged to a bloody spectacle.
The players?
There were many. At first, it was a hunt for the traitors, but it soon turned into a hunt for all mages. And there were a few skirmishes between Kedweni, Redanian, and Temerian troops. Rape, pillage, and murder. Not necessarily in that order. The pastimes of the Order's pious knights. And the regular troops soon followed suit. The kings, with their choice units, left the city just after the dragon attacked.
And the Nilfgaardians?
Remained neutral. That is to say, they shot anyone who dared approach their camp.
Okay. Yeah, basically max this tree, or at least for the stuff I give a shit about. It's interesting that ability to redirect arrows. There's only been a couple sequences in the game where I even was able to deal with arrows. Still could matter, especially if I'm going up against Letho here. Can we not?
When we're done with you, you'll be a lump of whimpering meat.
Elf! Killed a non-human.
That was weird. Gave me the "you got an instant kill" blood spatter, and then nothing happened.
Beasts! Bloody sons of bitches!
Will you be all right?
Yes, thank you. Leave me.
What happened here?
When the summit ended, we hid in one of the houses, but they found us. They cut off both my sister's hands so she wouldn't cast spells. But I managed to escape. They caught me here.
Okay, so their hands are important.
Let's go, Gwynblade.
It's not just
madness.
the metal.
Lochmuin has changed. That's what it looks like now.
You gotta be kidding me. It's interesting, you can use her dagger.
I think I heard something.
Imperial troops.
Long live the Emperor! Long live the
Oh, come on, man. Don't stand right there. Yes, lock onto him. Perfect choice. What is happening?
Dirty dog!
Die, Nordling!
A person got disemboweled. That's a bummer.
Finish your story.
I managed to sneak into the Nilfgaardian camp. It was relatively quiet there. Then I saw
Thank the drummers for stopping there when he started talking.
They let him go?
No one dared stop him. I followed him. I think he noticed me, but didn't seem to care. Once the fighting died down, he went to the former Temerian camp.
Is Triss all right?
Yes. Letho defended her from marauders.
A little spooky.
Stop, Yorvith. I'm going alone.
Why?
This is between the two of us. Take care of Triss until I return.
Your choice.
Mine, indeed. There's one more thing you need to know. Nilfgaard's armies have crossed the Yaruga. War is inevitable.
Va fail, Gwynblade. Don't get killed.
Farewell, Yorvith. If I don't return within the hour, find Saskia and leave without me. Are you all right?
Yes. He saved me from the Nilfgaardians, and defended me from the troops.
It's time to end this. Yorvith's waiting. I'll catch up with you soon.
Geralt, he knows a lot.
I know, Triss. That's why we need to talk.
Don't get killed, Witcher.
I won't.
Sup, bud?
Took you a while?
Is that bauble from Sheila's megascope?
It's kind of cool with him looking at you through it.
Final prank. I switched the diamonds. The one in the megascope has a flaw. Minute. But just large enough to warp the teleport. The Emperor's magic theorists assured me the effect would be spectacular.
I let her escape.
You're heartless. You've no idea what the Royal Witch Hunters have in store for her. A lot of pain for a long time.
I don't doubt it. So, ready to lay your cards out on the table?
No matter the game, there comes a point when all the players need to show their cards. I love that moment. But first...
We need to fight each other.
Vodka.
Oh, good.
I suppose my throat's a little dry.
In that case, let's drink to old friendships.
It's a lot of vodka.
Recovered your memory yet?
Not entirely.
Remember how we first met?
Yeah, I saved your life. Couldn't think of a nicer way to pay me back?
Frankly, I couldn't. I mean, taking care of another man's woman, Yennefer. I can't fathom what you saw in her, but I suppose there's no accounting for taste.
Ooh, jam.
The winter solstice, 1270. Midinvern, the night of magic. Letho wasn't lying, the hunt had stopped. At the Hanged Man's Tree, the spectral riders selected from among those they had taken. Yennefer was among them. A wraith cannot be killed, only driven away. Every Witcher knows that. Yet the riders fell beneath the blows of our Witcher's blades. Crimson blood flowed from under their dead men's armor. We could not kill them all. They were simply too many. A stalemate. He was different from all other elves. There was no shame in his gaze. He had never suffered persecution. He had endured no massacres. Humans had not taken his land. This elf was not of this world. He was an invader. We struck a deal. My soul for that of Yennefer.
No, interesting.
Without hesitation.
Some Disney's Hercules shit.
Back with me, friend. Got the feeling you left for a minute.
Just having a flashback.
Memories. I remember the Hanged Man's tree and the wild hunt. I remember the exchange. Me for Yennefer.
So, cards out on the table. Unless you chase me all that way just to kill me.
I chased you for lots of reasons. You owe me some explanations to start with.
Let's say I do.
Tell me about Yennefer. What happened after I departed?
She was feverish for several days. Delirious. In agony. We thought that was it. She was on her way out. Somehow she recovered. But even then she was disoriented. Amnesia like you.
What then?
Well, the woman turned out to be quite a character. Throwing temper tantrums. Trying to seduce orcs. Trying to drive a wedge between us. After you so nobly sacrificed yourself, we thought it'd be dumb just to leave her somewhere. She wouldn't have survived more than a month. The whims and vigor of a duchess, but she was just a sorceress with no memory. We were in the heart of the Empire.
Buffalo really needs to, like, hydrate.
Geralt, in Nilfgaard, mages who behave like that either drop their bad habits quickly, or are drawn and quartered by horses in the middle of Victory Square.
So I heard.
So we set out, wandered through the provinces. Everywhere we went, she got in trouble and we pulled her out. And then one day they captured us. The Imperial Secret Police. Me, Ox, Serret, and Yennefer.
Imperial Secret Police?
Mm-hmm. We were separated, and they questioned us. Long and thoroughly, but it was uneventful. No violence. That's how I met Vatia de Rideau. And a couple of weeks later, the Emperor himself. Me. A simple witcher.
What happened to Yennefer?
I don't know. Never saw her again. The Emperor offered me a mission in the northern kingdoms. As for Yennefer, I had the feeling she was somehow important to Emir. As I see it, they learned of the Lodge from her. Those Imperial spooks have their ways. All I heard is that Vatir had his men watch Yennefer closely throughout the time she was at the palace. Then we went off to slay the kings of the north. That's where my knowledge ends.
Thanks for being so forthright, man.
So she's in the Empire.
She was when I left.
How did you know where we'd find the Wild Hunt?
Every witcher who wears the viper around his neck knows the place. We had so many books and scrolls about the hunt that I used to think our school was founded for the very purpose of solving the riddle of the spectral riders.
Know who they are? You know the true identities of the riders?
From what I understand, they're some damn elven race. But they turned out to be a big ruse. The legendary Omen of War proved to be a fairground attraction.
No Market Square mage could possibly conjure up a cavalcade of wraiths speeding across the sky. Then there's the amnesia. No, there's something more, I assure you.
Go ahead, enlighten me. I can tell you want to.
There are a lot of legends and myths about it, but the Wild Hunt is a fact. I've fought and killed many of its wraiths. They were spectral emanations, the avatars of real riders. The riders we ran into by the Hanged Man's tree.
Are you telling me
Surprised they don't even really give you like what the Witchers think about the Wild Hunt in the first two games.
like the ordinary kind we deal with in this world?
They may be ordinary in their world, but they're strangers in ours. The conjunction of spheres. Know the theory? Do you know how monsters appear?
As you know.
There's not a Witcher who doesn't know.
But the audience doesn't.
So
Turn to the camera.
Spheres. The most powerful of our mages can open passages between these worlds, and they usually do that to summon the monsters we then have to hunt. The elves we saw come from another world, and they weren't summoned. They found the way on their own. It's not exactly easy, so they usually send their spectral emanations. They come in person on special missions.
It's pretty cool.
As they did for you and Yennefer. So, elves from another world and their trained wraiths.
Well, I kind of got the wraiths as like them astrally projecting, but
I've got an idea. But that's not your concern. How did a Witcher agree to kill humans at another human's bidding?
At the Emperor's bidding, Geralt. And he's no ordinary human. The rulers of the North come up to about where his Pauline's end.
Why?
Simple. He promised to rebuild the School of the Viper, the Witcher's order where I came to be. Witcher's schools in the south fell into ruin long ago. And Witchers themselves became internal exiles, banned from entering most cities. Besides Seret and Ox, I know of 2 other Witchers of the School of the Viper who should be alive and on the path. I don't know where they are. Haven't seen them for years. Now they can come out of hiding. They can come home.
Why'd you wait?
Why are you still here? Why did you wait for me this time?
I knew you wouldn't give up. I knew you'd pursue me. And I don't aim to hide anymore. Fact is, only you know the truth about me. Well, and a couple of folks whose word isn't worth spit anymore. I never saw you as a foe. I want to go my way. But
I
if
don't want
I
to fight
have
him.
to fight you first, so be it. This story ends here and now.
Care to tell me what it was all about?
Kill as many rulers as we could. Lay the blame on the sorceresses. Breed chaos. Prepare the North. Soften it before the invasion. And you know what's incredible? We could not have imagined more fertile soil. No matter what the war's outcome.
Soil.
The northern monarchs will accuse one another. Pursue their God-given rights. Seek vengeance and be at each other's throats for years to come. The North resembles a whorehouse on fire, as your friend Dandelion would say.
Oh, damn. Okay.
How did you manage to contact Sheila?
It wasn't a problem once I learned of the Lodge's existence.
Seems like one of the most important conversations in the whole
Initially, she
game,
watched
so I'm
my
gonna
every move.
read everything.
But sooner or later, everyone starts treating me like a big oaf. I mean, I can change how I look. I stayed close to Sheila. Killed a few beasts for her. And whined about how unhappy
The giant
I
exposition
was,
dump.
how unfair the world was.
That's my favorite part
So
of
much, in
Mass
fact,
Effect, so.
that I actually got her gander up a few times. I made sure a few potentially trustworthy witnesses saw us together. Could link us. Security in case I was captured. I also prepared to assassinate the King of Kavir. Esterad Tyson was to be the first victim of the mysterious assassins. But before I could do the dirty deed, Sheila asked me to slay Demavend. The gods had smiled upon me. I couldn't believe my luck. Here I've been trying to figure out how to frame Sheila. And now all I needed was to carry out her orders and follow through.
Where'd you get your information about the Lodge?
From the Emperor and Vatir de Rideau, the Emperor's chief spy. And I believe they got it out of Yennefer.
She recovered her memory?
Nah. I'd never claim she informed on her friends consciously. I expect they found a way to tap into her memory in spite of her amnesia, and without her knowing it. There was a sorcerer present when I was questioned. A young, proud intelligence officer. Whatever the case, they gave me a list of the sorceresses in the lodge. Only Emir, Vatyr, and I were present. Only we knew of the mission.
How do you manage to slay Demavend?
Sheila's magic. I mean, she could give us the king's every move. His habits, the positions of the palace guards, anything. All we had to do was navigate the labyrinth and land the final blow. Besides, she had plenty of gold for the preparations. Greased palms abundantly. It had all the makings of a cakewalk. But it's never that easy. We barely avoided our pursuers. And we wouldn't have if not for Yorveth's Scoia'tael. Another of Sheila's ideas. With Yorveth's elves, not only did we cut down Demavend, but traveling with them put us out of the Lodge's reach. We could calmly plan Foltest's and Henselt's assassinations.
How did you know Foltest would come to the monastery's solar?
Yorveth and I planned Foltest's murder. The King of Temeria would have to deal with the Lavalette sooner or later, and he made no secret of it. I was sure he'd want to recover his bastard children in the process. And where do they take the children when a castle's under siege?
Smart.
I had to become a monk, but I couldn't just arrive at the monastery and claim I'd seen the light. Not very believable.
Oh, really?
So one of Arian's patrols out in the forests happened on a Scoia'tael unit torturing a helpless monk. Arian's brave men drove off the elves and I found shelter in the monastery.
No one noticed you had no wounds?
I paid the monk who treated me a lot of orange to stay silent. Actually, it was only a loan, because I killed him later. Only the dead can keep a secret. Then all I had to do was wait for the situation to develop. When I saw you enter the chamber with Foltest, I thought I might fail. Luckily, you failed. To recognize an old friend.
When did you decide to get rid of Yorveth?
As soon as I realized I couldn't manipulate him. A true fox, that one. He was so observant, so dangerous. I got the sense he might see through me at any moment.
You made a mistake. You were untouchable as long as the Scoia'tael were protecting you.
Maybe, but with Yorveth, my hands were tied. If I'd finished off Kieran...
But you didn't. And that allowed me to drive a wedge between you and Yorveth. I forced you to flee.
And I let you live. You know I could have killed you.
In 150 other universes, you did.
So Sheila was looking for you when she came to Flotsam.
Mm-hmm. She thought she was still in control and wanted to get rid of me. I'd bet my eyes that she thought I'd lost my mind. Or that Yorveth was manipulating me.
And the North descended deeper into chaos.
Exactly. There was just one problem. You. I could have killed you in the Elven ruins. Thing is, you weren't really my enemy.
You screwed up with Henselt.
Sabrina's curse tore that down. First off, we got holed up in that hideout in the ravines. Then Sheila showed up and started watching Henselt like he was her own ass. By that time, his death was no longer necessary. Fate had smiled upon us again. I learned of the summit and the efforts to reconstitute the council and conclave. The ideal setting for the mission's grand finale.
It's all done.
I'm done talking. Let's finish this.
Want to fight?
No.
Any vodka left in that bottle?
A swig apiece. Here. The Imperial army is probably crossing the Yaruga as we speak. Pure pandemonium will ensue. The North's finished. Time to go south, where the good life awaits.
You're a fool, Netho. Both you and your Emperor are forgetting one thing. Misfortune brings people together. Very shortly, the North could be united like never before, thanks to you. But that's just not my concern anymore.
I'm not your foe. I never was. Let me walk away and I will. You'll never see me again. Force me to fight, and this time I'll kill you.
Go somewhere far away.
I've learned all I wanted to know. I can feel the memories coming back. Your death won't change a thing. Go where you will.
Just like that. No threats. No words of wisdom.
You going or not?
Farewell.
I'm glad they let you do that. I was worried they were about to force me into a fight there. Awkward goodbye. It was kind of like a don't touch me gesture. I think it was supposed to be a wave. That's cute. But I didn't squish it. I don't think any of the moral choices in this game were like Jesus or Satan, which is impressive. Love me some Mass Effect, but like 70% of the decisions are that, and it's really annoying.
The Witcher had traveled far and wide in search of the Kingslayers. Along the way, he had met both the righteous and scoundrels, Bernard Laredo amongst the latter. Laredo sold Flotsam to Kedwen and scattered the local non-humans to the four winds.
Sucks.
Flotsam became a military base. Its civilian population was resettled.
No more diaper people here.
In Edirn, the Witcher witnessed Saskia the Dragon Slayer achieve a great victory. The Pontar Valley, previously Upper Edirn, became a promised land for outcasts who dared dream of
Hey, maybe all the people from Flotsam came there.
Even sly old Zoltan Chive came to believe in this land of bliss. Yet dark times approached for the architects of the New Order.
That's where all the diaper people went.
Dark clouds have been gathering over Temeria since Foltest's death. Stripped of its king, the land was like a rich cloth which nobles began to shred. These minor scavengers, however, scurried off in fear when true predators reached out for their prize. The summit at Loch Muin sealed the fate of Foltest's realm, when Radovid of Redania and Henselt of Kedwen divided it between them. A tempest descended on the north, at least partly the work of manipulative mages. It seemed the turmoil in Temeria, Edirn, and Kedwen would benefit them most. Common folk turned against sorceresses and all magic freaks, witchers included.
Uh-oh.
Castles that had hitherto welcomed mavens of the magic arts now shut their gates to any who sought shelter there. A witch hunt ensued.
A Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
It was a time of great uncertainty, of rape accomplished by royal decree. Yet as troubled as the day seemed, we, who had in some way shaped the world's fate, finally received some respite. Zoltan resumed the quest for his beloved's hand, and I laid my head in the laps of the muses. Who could have known this tempest which had ravaged the north was but a harbinger of darker days, and the preamble to an entirely new tale of Geralt of Rivia.
Thanks, Witcher 2. I was real close to being able to submit a single episode of this series that wasn't going to be reported for sexual content. Yeah, I really like The Witcher 2. I thought it was greatly improved over the first game. It's almost like mind-blowing that this is the same developer because it's so different. The first game was kind of like, oh, this is impressive for what it is and for when it came out, and it seemed really ambitious, but it wasn't really able to live up to the ambition. Here I can still feel that they were more ambitious than the game that they put out, but it still feels pretty complete. You know, I kind of detected that we rushed along from Flotsam onto the Dwarven City, but the fact that the game splits in half there and there's like a completely different second act depending on which choice you make in the first act is still really impressive, and I don't think I've seen any other game that's really been able to accomplish that. It's one of those things I think is just like a mathematical limit. Like they can't really possibly approach it because it's too expensive to do, and your metrics don't show that your players actually play the game more than once if it's this long, right? But it does sound like there's a interesting reason to play this game repeatedly. Oh man, can Roach kill Henselt? They had that cool little cutscene showing it. But it makes me interested for The Witcher 3. I did play The Witcher 3 for a sub-block like years ago at this point, but I remember almost nothing from it, so it'll be cool going into it, having the context of 1 and 2 this time. Actually check when Witcher 3 episode was so I can move it to unlisted and set it to demo. This is probably one of the better games I've played in terms of concealing the cut content and maybe planning the game in such a way that the cut content is kind of distributed throughout the title, as opposed to just kind of like falling apart at the end, which is normally what happens, right? I think that's what happens in The Witcher 1 for sure. So I wonder if they just learned a lesson from The Witcher 1 at the beginning where they're like, hey, we should be careful. We're probably not going to be able to make the game as ambitious as we set out to make it, so let's not like spend too much time in Flotsam or whatever. It's a really good credit sequence. There's a lot of unique art that I don't think made it into any of the other flashbacks. I think the story is interesting. It's very competently told, which is nice, coming off of a couple games that weren't as good about competent storytelling. I think it remained true that although there's a lot of proper nouns being flung around, like the game presents scenes in such a way that you can kind of piece together what's going on. I guess my only maybe complaint is Yennefer and the Wild Hunt, which I guess are intended to be like mysterious because of Geralt's amnesia. But there's still scenes where Geralt talks about both as though he already knows what they are, and then therefore the audience should know. So I wouldn't have hated an extra scene early in the game, just kind of briefly going over that. Because it does kind of feel like it's coming out of nowhere if you don't know anything about the books or anything like that. I think the sexual content in this game is actually like more gratuitous than it is in that Fear and Hunger game I was playing. Gratuitous in like the literal meaning that it's kind of just there to titillate the audience. I've certainly seen games that are worse about it. Like they at least try to make it so, okay, well, this is like a brothel, fine, or this is Dandelion, all right, I guess it's arguably reasonable, right? That's why I was shocked when Saskia turned from a dragon that she wasn't just like naked, because they probably could have made an argument or an excuse for it there. Some of the flashbacks at the start are a bit difficult to understand. Yeah, that's fair. I imagine this is a great game like to come back to after The Witcher 3. You have all your context from that. Because I don't remember The Witcher 3 very much from that subblock stream, but I thought it had a pretty decent opening that was focused on bringing you up to speed with it. I guess, like, horniness isn't a problem in games or in art. It only becomes a problem when it feels like it's male-gazy. And I think they're getting progressively better with that with each game. 3 basically opens with naked Geralt in a tub, right? So yeah, I think that's a really good word. It feels a little juvenile, right? It's very voyeuristic. I was a little turned off by that early sequence with who was it? Was it Roche's assistant who keeps leaving the room just so you could see the butt physics? It's like, we get it. Okay. I'm sure you're very proud. Yeah, exactly, Scarf. And it's like there's not an agenda at the same time. Like it's when there's nudity or sexual content in Fear and Hunger, it's like that's the point of the scene, right? It's not just like, oh, by the way, here's some boobs in this scene, have fun. There are a couple scenes like in this game, like Philippa with Cynthia, where it's just like this isn't necessary, guys. Like you could indicate that they have a sexual relationship and that could be important to the story, but we don't need to walk in on her like whipping her. Like, come on. But I think that the thing that feels silly about it is that every single time it happens, there's at least a plausible deniability, or it's like, no, this is part of the story. We have a good reason for it, right? And you're like, okay, fine. I guess it is a brothel. Give you that. Whereas the games I normally complain about that do male gaze stuff are anime games where there's not even that like pretense. It's just like, we're going to sexualize these characters and point the camera at them in an ogling way, and it won't even be relevant to the story in any way, you know? It's all right. It's I'm not like crazy mad about it. It's probably comparable to the Game of Thrones show, which kind of had a similar relationship to it. Because like the books, I think George R.R. Martin did a pretty good job of only having explicit scenes when there was some kind of narrative relevance to that. But then the show, they kind of went overkill with it because HBO was like, oh, we can make money if we have nudity in the opening, right? We're going to get people talking about it at the water cooler. So there's a lot of like I remember there being a scene in Game of Thrones where like Littlefinger's looking through a peephole at his brothel. And it's like, why are we doing this? This doesn't tell me anything about Littlefinger. This is just gratuitous. But yeah, not to linger on that because it's not at all. It's not even like 2% of The Witcher 2's total runtime. I think outside of that stuff, it's a pretty mature story. I think that it has really good and diverse characters. I think Triss is an interesting character. I think all the sorceresses are interesting characters. They're, you know, competent, and Geralt isn't like this perfect power fantasy hero. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty oof. I don't know what Cyberpunk 2077 does in that regard. Be interesting to play that after The Witcher 3, especially if they're actively attempting to make it better. I think this setting is like such a great one to try to do an open world game, which makes me excited for Witcher 3. I'm usually very like open world games. I don't like them as a rule. The ones that I do like, I like a lot. Like I really like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and like Subnautica. But usually open world kind of means just, you know, the story's basically linear and all that. There's all this like Assassin's Creed bullshit collectible stuff to do. Not a lot of meat on the bone. That's good to hear. I think the thing I find the most interesting about this setting and the premise is like the fact that Geralt is a monster hunter, and so you have to like do specific things to fight the monsters. And I guess I'm hoping that the third game finds a more formal way to integrate that. And you kind of have that with the Karen, with getting the potion for the Karen, but then it's like a puzzle boss anyway, so the potion didn't really matter. I feel like you almost have to do it where it's like event flag driven. You don't want it to be a situation where like, oh, you should get a Silverbane to fight this monster that's weak against Silverbane, but if you don't, it's fine, right? It's like, okay, you literally have to have it in order to begin the mission. I feel like that's where having RPG mechanics can put you in a tough spot, because if for storytelling reasons, like if you were reading the books or watching the TV show and he's fighting a monster that has some specific weakness or only is nocturnal or whatever, like he would take advantage of the weakness in the story and would need to take advantage of the weakness in the story to be successful. But in a video game, they like don't want to put that restriction on you as the player, so they're just like, oh, okay, well if you fight it with this, you get a big buff. Just fine. I guess if they could do a thing where, like, if you have an open world, you have all this really difficult content that's impossible until you learn what the weakness is, and then you use the weakness, and then it becomes reasonable. I would be okay with something like that. But, again, I'm interested to see where it is. These credits are almost as long as God of War 2018, which I think is the record. And I think now it's, repeating the animations in the background. So let's see what happens. Can I... Oh, I can't skip it anyway. Okay. Well, I'll let it play, just want to make sure I get my save file to carry over. So do they make this in English first and then translate it to Polish, I wonder? It's interesting that they changed the spelling of Sheila to S-I-L-E. Cyberpunk has the handicap where the setting itself is gratuitous. That makes sense. I guess the problem with cyberpunk as a genre, not speaking about the game specifically, is that meme of, wow, cool future, right? Where they're shooting all the points of cyberpunk over the person's head. Like, there's a lot of things you can do about like rampant sexual exploitation in a cyberpunk future. And you have to be really careful to, you know, aim the camera in such a way that the audience isn't like, oh, wow, this is hot and awesome. It's so rad that I can specify my dick size in Cyberpunk 2077. I think that's the thing that's probably going to stick with me for the longest time. Some of the completely insane, wholly unreasonable expectations that people had for that game before it was released. When I install Cyberpunk 2077, it's going to install a mini holodeck in my living room. I did the ending of Final Fantasy XIV on stream, but maybe I was able to skip the credits at the end? I don't remember. I'm mostly sitting here trying to make sure that I get the save file. I don't think I can advance the scroll rate. I don't think I have too much else to say about The Witcher 2. I can try to reach The combat had the normal upside down difficulty curve problem. I don't think many games are able to overcome that, unfortunately. I think once you commit to having XP and leveling in your game, it almost becomes inevitable. Games that have interesting difficulty curves are ones where your character doesn't get meaningfully stronger, or they really, 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 really spend a lot of time getting the math just right to get enemies at different tiers of play to kind of become more difficult with you. Doug Cockle. I can't recognize any of the, other than the guy who played Letho being in Game of Thrones. They didn't go for the usual stable of Western voice actors or English voice actors. Oh, I was able to hit escape on the keyboard. It wasn't working with the controller. After I saw it was going to give me French credits, I'm like, okay. It's the Witcher of Rabbits. I went to all this trouble to play The Witcher 1 and The Witcher 2. I'm gonna get the save file, dagnabbit. I also apparently need to get my Mass Effect 2 save off my Xbox for another game we played on stream that had a prompt to import a Mass Effect 2 save. Sucks to be that guy. He lost his county. Pretty cool. Womp. Is there like a particular film soundtrack that we have to blame for Womp? I don't think that was a thing in the 90s. What's a Hans Zimmer thing? World as we know it nears its end. The past remains a key to the future. It's pretty bad in Inception, yeah. I don't know if that changed everything, where it was like every single movie trailer was blomp. Alright, give me a few minutes to switch to The Witcher 3 here.